रिकॉर्डिंग होता है ना?
Yes, sir. YouTube का recording और Facebook का stream.
वो सब डिस्कंटिन्यू करिए ना. The whole thing will be live.
I'm just making it live in. I'm trying to make it live in this.
But if you do from yourself, URL will be same, no?
Oh no, I think it is live, sir. We are going live.
देख लो live होगा तो
देखो तो live. Asif, just check if you are live. Yeah, sir. I think we can continue.
नहीं but discontinue करके वापस एक करो. उसको निकाल दो अभी तक.
So it goes automatic live, sir. So okay. Thank you so much, viewers. We are live again due to some technical issue. I think we got disconnected. And I was introducing Dr.P.Sekhar, who is an author, an architect of the very concept called secured governance. And this is a very special episode where we pick a policy issue which are directly connected with nation building or national development. And today's topic is education. The last topic we discussed was smart city. Smart city was also one of the most important aspects of nation building and urbanization. Today's topic is education. Dr. Sekhar has coined a book. The cover you can see on the screen, and we will talk about the book a little later. I will request Dr. Sekhar to also brief about the book and the occasion on which we will be also introducing this book. Now, with this, I request Dr. Sekhar to kindly enlighten us on the issue of education and how we make education a self-sustained model post-COVID.
Thank you again. We start from what we left off. Yes, we are talking of smart and secure governance for self-sustained education post-COVID with the new education policy. The new education policy is also important. Post-COVID is very important, and education is most important. And the other words, self-sustained education. Education is generally a funded item. Okay. We are talking of self-sustained education. How the education, because if we see from India's policy point of view, India's population point of view, India's finance point of view, it is very difficult to have funding for the education, the way many of the few advanced countries are doing. So we will touch upon the topic. Much of it is covered in the book on education. This education itself, the title of the conference has been kept as the title of the book itself, which coincidentally will have its relaunch during a World Education Conference, which is being done by the Policy Time between January 15th to January 17th. A lot of BBIP people from all parts of the world, mainly in Indian educationists, supported by others globally, are going to take full part. And we are going to give this as a compliment. Now, when we talk of education, there are a few things which we all should bring in our mind. Okay. We were the most educated people in the world for the last thousands of years. Okay. This picture is a picture for last about 100 years. But we have pictures of others we do not have. Others we know, even ages ago, people in India could predict even what will be the moon's position today, 5,000 years back. They could have so many things about our own health, many ages ago. They could think of things which we cannot even dream of, which we are still wanting to understand and decode. The nature's way of handling us. So education is something which we should know that we are good, but for the population which we have, we are not so good. We need to improve because we have such a huge population. A population of 20 million new Indians coming every year, which means you can imagine the number of new schools, the number of new items which has to come. Of course, many are going to go when the education is over. It is not directly the 20 million we have to take. But the incremental portion has to be taken care of. But when this is being discussed, many of us think that our system is not good. We need to do good is correct, but our system is not good is not right. So why it is? Next slide is of very important consequence. Next slide is just a small fraction of the Indian successful abroad. Now they are all at the topmost level. In all parts of the world, people will be happy to know or surprised to know that even in a country like China, there are many Indians who are holding the highest post on wherever education is concerned. In Japan, people are making inroads. Because why I talk about China and Japan? Because they don't allow easily outsiders to come. Whereas USA, West, they are more amenable for Indians to come. In fact, they
এখানে
welcome
নিয়ে
Indians.
যাও
I have
ফালতু
kept
ওখানে
few
বিরক্ত
slides
করছে
on the
এখানে বিরক্ত
strategy
করছে
for some of these things people
হ্যাঁ
and things to play a greater
একটু
role
ভেতরে নিয়ে যাও
for
না
education.
দিয়ে দরজাটা বন্ধ করে
So
দাও
that being the case, we should know
এখানে
that
দাঁড়িয়ে প্যাঁ
once we
প্যাঁ
are
করে
at
বেড়াচ্ছে
the
তখন থেকে
at the helm
ওইদিকে
of
জানালাটা খুলে ঢোকাতে
at the
পারতে হবে
highest level of competitive this thing. And these are all people who have studied in India in some of the normal schools colleges. Of course, many have done.
যাবেই না
There are
মজা
more
করো
from IITs and IIM, but not all are from IITs and IIM. So it is independent of
যাও
IITs and IIM. IIMs and IITs, nobody can this about the contribution to the world's educated. But at the same time, and the strange thing is you'll find people making some grading and rating, where IIT and IIMs will never come in picture, which is all question of how people very paradoxically don't give weightage to something good happening in India, which people have to do. We do good and we have to say we are doing good. Now let us see. When we talk of education, education cannot be independent of India's structure. Now, India as a country is again a small statement. Is like 206 countries put together. So we just cannot shy away from the reality and compare India with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. But of course, there are bigger countries like India that also we should know, and they have got their own opportunities and problems and circumstantial positioning. So when there are 206 countries put together, we'll have 206 types of problems. We'll have 206 types of opportunities. Now, what are the problems and what are the opportunities? The problems are because we are multi-cultural, multilingual, multi-racial, multi-this everything. So we have our own huge lot of problems. What are the opportunities? We are the most intelligent human being in the world. We should not feel shy of saying that. No Indian is ever anywhere inferior to any other. Yes, others can be equal to us, cannot be this. It may not be one for everyone. At the same time, this should not go to our head in such a way that we feel we are a superior being. I am not saying we are a superior being. We are an intelligent being. Okay? And we talk only good of the world. This is another good point in India's history. We never think like others of ruling the world. We are always talking of contributing to the world. We are always thinking of our progress along with others' progress. This is how our culture, our literature, our well-being, everything is taught. We have never tried to, browbeat anybody and try to overrule others. And this much people are, that's why we are welcomed in whichever part of the world we go. Even countries which are not so friendly to India would welcome an Indian, which is not true of any other country. We have almost 3 million square kilometers of land, which is small for a country of our size, but very, very large. We are the seventh biggest country in the world in terms of the land area. And we are the second largest in terms of the population. And we have enough water to sustain for the next 100 years. But again, water is not there right place. So that also brings education. Through education, planning and educated enterprises, water can be brought, water can be the same. Nature gives us land and water. Rest all things are human beings. And we are a human being, and we are a well entrenched human being, we are well cultured human being, and we are well intelligent human being. And education gives us the background, education gives us the way forward, education gives us for any sector of economy, even though most of the other sections are non-other sector, education forms one of the core role. When I'm saying of whether I talk of infrastructure, whether I talk of medicine, whether I talk of healthcare, whether I talk of transportation, whether we talk of tourism, or even we talk of religious enterprises, education plays a role. So education becomes a backbone, back entry for the country's progress. So other things are all about the country's administrative setup, union territories, all the things need not be discussed since our. Now, this is a very important slide in today's point. That's why everywhere, whatever we talk, nothing is complete without talking of COVID. COVID is something which has really touched the core of anything, everybody's life, of the smallest individual sitting in the corner of the world to the largest enterprises, to the largest countries, to the family, to a small human being, to a lady controlling the house, to a person who is going for a job, or staying at home and working. But COVID itself is an invisible item. COVID itself is so small, so tiny, and very oddly, even the number it has affected is less than 1% as far as India is concerned, and less than about 1 or 2% as far as the world is concerned. Even the worst affected economies have not more than 2% which is affected. Why I'm saying 1%? It's all within the error factor. Anything within 10%, we always say plus minus 10%. But the way it has brought down the economy, the way it has brought down everything is almost totally like a World War III. It is a World War III. I'm sure United Nations others would bring it down a structure of World War III. World wars are fought with ammunition, world wars fought destruction, world wars fought a lot of economic loss. Here, economic loss is there, physical destruction is not there. Other than physical destruction and human loss of the magnitude of the core human loss of this thing, rest all things are there. Because human loss, why I'm slightly differing, is because the number of humans who have died in this period is less than what generally people die. Only it has created that frenzy. It has created the thing that COVID has killed somebody. Nobody says that how much COVID we have recovered 98.5%, and even other countries have recovered almost 92%. So the whatever is happening is within the error factor. But when reality is COVID has brought us down, we should not try to shy away from the reality and keep only arguing that COVID is not something. It's a number of it not. Because whatever it has done in actual sense. So when COVID comes in picture, we need to address from the reality of life that post-COVID, what do we do? When we mean post-COVID, it means we are talking of post-March, post-April. We are not talking of vaccine and all. When the vaccine comes or no, it doesn't make any difference. Human beings have to go independent of vaccine. Vaccine is a small, insignificant factor as far as we are concerned, but significant from a confidence point of view. Because vaccine is very, very important because it brings a psychological fear that for COVID, I have got a solution. That psychological feel has to be appreciated when we talk of vaccine. In reality, vaccine does not make any difference to us, any difference to the way we proceed, the way we go forward, the way we take. Now, since we are talking of education in this particular session, education at a glance. Let us see what we are talking. Okay. Now we have had education. We were educated people. We had the largest and maybe the only education centers in the world, even even 2,000 years back or even much before that. World's experts, world's people used to come to learn from India and go. But we lost somewhere. Okay. Whatever it is, we may feel happy that we are great, but we should also feel sad that our greatness we could not keep in continuity. So when invaders came, our education system somehow did not support the way we could have probably tackled the invaders, tackled the people who had come with a view to grab the intelligent Indian and grab the way the India's heritage, culture, people, land, climatic condition, everything is there. But fortunately for us, yes, we have attained independence. We have got rid of the same. And then we are now there to grow. So we have to see that there is one which is post-independence, post-1947, pre-independence, pre-1947, and pre-invaders coming in picture, which is old history. But we should not dwell only on old history. Old history should only be a reckoner that yes, we want to get to some level which is better than what we were at the time. It should not be our future. We should not keep on talking of the fact that yes, we did Y1 and we did this and we did that and all. We have not documented properly. We have not taken the continuity properly. So we can only learn from there and see that we don't make those mistakes again, or somebody else to invade us, or somebody else to bring us to our knees. So in this evolution of education, Indian government, whatever they were, independent party, has been trying its best to bring education to the lowest level. There is a little catch here. Okay. Now, when we say education, we are talking of the documented education. Now, many times when certain things are not being done in the conventional way, we go back to our grandmother, who is supposed to be by all the education standard uneducated. And finally, she gives a solution which the most intelligent grandson or the son or daughter are not able to even comprehend. So, but that's the way we have defined. We have defined education from the point of view of degrees and diplomas. But we should know that we are far above that. We are there. Our people have been educated in their own convention. But as things go, the present generation, this lacuna is being taken care. But this lacuna will be there for next about 20, 30 years. By the time everybody will come into the conventional education system. So that because some of the numbers which you'll find are frighteningly low, as you will find as they go a little more forward. The Indian education system is right from various systems of pre school, post school, public sector school, central government school, Kendriya Vidyalaya, state government. There are up to number. Some of this thing I will not go into. This is slide I would like to spend half a minute more. Because here you'll find that in 1951, when we were literally, out of the conscience of other countries, other people who are ruling us, we were only 18.33% so-called literacy rate. And today, fortunately, we are 77%. Okay. And in some of the states in India, it is nearly 95, 98, and even 100%. So we should know that we are catching up on the defined way of education. We should not feel shy that at 18% when we were anywhere less, but we were subjugated to be looked upon as an illiterate people. Okay, because whatever is today being pursued as something which is good, we're all informed as something not so good. So which any invaders will do. After all, the prey and predator syndrome. Okay. So we were a prey. We cannot help. We were predator as defined us in some way, and we should not keep on. People talk of they should apologize to us. No, they did at the time. We kept our door open. If we keep the door open and some thief has stolen, it is not that thief should be rewarded, but at least we should know that we have to keep our doors properly locked where it should be locked and open where it should be open. So our literacy rates, even though they are very, very low, they are not as low in real sense. Now it is going, now it is coming to a very good level of almost 90-98% and growing up, even though the average for India is 77, which is good, but could be far, far better. For doing it on this level, we should know that we have got so many levels and layers of education, which everybody knows. So it's only for technical portion I have brought. And we are one of those where we have got very, very good ratio of male-female in education. In fact, in education, female teachers are as much competing or more than the male teachers. And even in rural and urban areas, education is growing up in relative numbers. We should all know with all this saying that we are able to educate only 30 to 40% of the number of people who should really be considered as educated. And that's what I am coming to by the middle or end of the session. That how would we, cover the balance? Because after all, once you have defined something in some way, that everybody have the same set of education. So some of this again are brought from continuity point of view, right from gross enrollment ratio to dropout ratio to transition ratio, and how whether it is toilets or drinking water or the pupil student ratio. These are all quantified. These are all studied. These are all analyzed. These are all scrutinized, and these are all monitored for growth. Okay, so that in overnight things cannot happen for a country of our size, for a country of our diversity, for a country of our requirements, for a country of our aspirations. Because today aspirations are also important because people want something in some way. Because of seeing so many, because the media has got its own plus and minus. Media's plus point is it is showing the way things can be, the way things should be, so that you can go by your choice. The negative portion of media is it hypes up things which are not necessary to be hyped. It says that exception is the rule. So I cannot say sun is rising in the east as a news. So only if sun's fallen, I have to say. So it is waiting for some sun to fall somewhere so that it can form a news, which is true also. You would not like to read the daily newspaper saying that today sun rose at 6 o'clock and sun is setting at 6 o'clock. We also wouldn't like to have. So we should know their problem also, but we should not get it hyped up. Hyped up means, that is repeated 100 times. Suppose in some place there's a small thing which has happened even in a school, even a school student, that is that is jammed into our head in such a bad way that it looks like all school and all school teachers and all schools are all collapsed when the whole facts is different. So that much of overhyping of anything which is even negative is something where I'm sure media also will be having their own introspection and seeing the way in which say something which is not good. That is what is news anyway. News is not what is happening. News is exception to what is happening in news. So to that level, we have to give credit, but overemphasizing is not good. Same thing happening in our education. Everybody wants to only know what bad thing which school teacher in some corner in some remote area did something. I mean that is banged into the head, and banged into his head once it is okay. It is banged into the head 100 times. Then you feel there is no good teacher is existing, no good student is there, no good teaching syndrome is there, which definitely should not be the way our education is expected, because our education is good. We should all be proud of it. Teachers should be proud, students should be proud, and education should be proud. And keep correcting the negative things which are also parallelly going on, which should be on a continuous correction mode. Now, school at a glance in India. So we got we have said what sort of electricity connection 96.2%. School with library 61.6%. Yes, there is 39% who doesn't have a library facility. They all need to be improved. I know they all need to be publicized. They all need to be funded. They all need to be extrapolated, because like a library is no more. Somebody may not even have a library, but if we give access for a student's guide, it is good. Some school may not have electricity for the whole school, but if the classroom has got electricity and if some other room which is of not so consequence doesn't have electricity, it doesn't make any difference. So it depends on way we propagate what we want for the good of the student, good of the teachers, and good of the way the output is going to the end beneficiary. End beneficiary student, the giver is the teacher, and manager is the school administration and the government. Now, higher education is something which is going to play as we go forward the biggest game changer for India. Higher education is of various grades. Here again, India stands second to none in terms of the way it has planned, the way it has it is implementing, and the way it is structured. Okay. Unstructured, and it is continuously changing. Continuously does not mean changing every year. It is continuously changing every 10 years. So that we cannot say that we are at the bottom level. I have been a teacher. We have got so much frustration because many times when you talk something good, the syllabus is supposed to change after 5 years, so some other things which are not relevant to be there. But as an administration, when you say, I can't keep changing the syllabus every year, the teacher will not know what to teach. So they put everything in a block that I will change the syllabus every so many years, so many committees are created, so many this is created. So there's always a chicken and egg story which should come first, which should come second. If you do everything too fast, the teaching will be bad. If you do everything too slow, the students will come out to be not so good. In any case, students will be the loser, teacher will be the loser. So there is a tug of war between need and the way it should be done. So that is why in this higher education, there's always a huge debate which goes on. That how like some industrial support we say whether we should be tied up. I'm coming to that also as we go down. So when industrial support, if you do too much of industrial support, the fellow who is locally wants XYZ, he cannot hijack the whole system into what is his requirement, and his technology fails, and the whole student will come out with the zero possibility of good job. So we should know that higher education, why I said is very, very important, is because much of it which we are doing is for our living condition, our prosperity, our way we forward, the way we think. And for that, if a student comes out, he should have a good place where he can get a job so that he can maintain a good family and he can live happily. Today, our requirements are far more than just eating and living. Whether we are living to eat or eating to live is a big syndrome. Okay. Eating is a small portion of our life. We are not living to eat. We are eating to live. But eating to live means what? Live with so many aspirations. We want so much luxuries, we want so much travel, we want to do so many things, which is what COVID has really brought us to the knees. But we have to get back. We have to have travel. We have to have people to go into all the places. We have to have excitement in terms of entertainment, in terms of sports, in terms of culture, in terms of festivals. All the things has to be brought back, and there whatever COVID has done has to be retrieved. But certain thing which COVID has done, which is good, which is also being highlighted here, is the fact that I can sit at one place and do so many things. Okay, without COVID, if the same thing has to happen, we can never even dream of. Okay, I have to go to each conference. I mean, just to think, this will be the almost 62nd summit. Before COVID, I used to address once in a week, and each session would have about 200 people. Today we are having twice a week and continuously for last 7 months, which should have been done. I don't think in the last 7 years what I have done in the last 7 months I have done in the 7 years, because that is what COVID has made us come to reality. Same thing is happening to a school teacher. Now, a same school teacher need not travel; they can study, they can give, but today they are locked. They are bound by circumstances, which is not correct. So it should be optionally be done. So when we talk of higher education, the combination of the knowledge being given permanently and completely and continuously should be one. The fact that people meet, people have life experience is something which should be done. A small statement which you are making, that representing foreign students in India. When I was a student, we had very, very minuscule foreign students in India. Every student wanted to go abroad. And foreign student in India was highly, negligible. Today we have even from advanced countries people coming to India and learning fully in India. Now I run through few of the slides quickly so that I would like to have a 5-minute break in between. And the skill development. Skill development is what is finally your education. Today, where is the debate going on? The debate is that in when somebody comes out of education, where do you get a job? Education does not give you the right to give a job. Okay. Now the catch-22 situation again here is whether education is for skill development for education. Education is for education. So skill development has to be a small portion of education in the beginning. Slowly, as you complete the education and go to the next year, skill development should overtake your education. The skill development interfaces you for the job which you are trying to do. So skilling is also something which I am coming from the India and international angle, and that is huge shortfall. This slide is very important because when we are talking that when so 20 million people are born in India, what should happen to them? You would find in this particular session, with a slide which everybody should know, that in each sector there are millions of requirements. If you say infrastructure sector, 103 millions are the things which are required. In auto sector, 35 million. Building sector, 33 million. Textile sector, 26 million. Real estate, 14 million. So these are the what is a person should look for a job. Now somebody has to know what is this 103 million consists of. How do I go? Whom all should go? Which all educated institutions can satisfy what all? Then there will be proper way. Another thing which I had to sing is internationally Indians are highly welcome. And here I am trying to give one slide in my book I have covered much more exhaustively. That when Indian want to go abroad, in every country there is a skill required which that country is not able to satisfy. Now this gives a preview that in which country what sort of skills are required and what sort of training we have to do. This is only to give a intro that every country documents are available, facts are available, the requirements are known. It is a question of a good education institution or the skill development institution which should try to take care of this. So as we know, there are almost 3 lakh Indians join a job. 3 million Indians are to be placed every year in a job. And today there is however optimistic we may try to be, the number of people who are looking for a job is far, far, far more than what the number of people who have a job, who require a job. And the thing has to be matched. Thing has to be matched by entrepreneurship. Thing has to be matched by the requirements. The thing has to be matched by properly, weighing each other and seeing how to do. And that is cannot be fully done by government. That itself is an entrepreneur who can take care of it. Vocational training for rural women. Again, I will not go too much detail. National education policy I'll touch upon before asking Akram to come for a few minutes to articulate. Now, this National Education Policy 2020 is a game changer for Indian education system. Of course, people should not feel at the end of the game. This is a thing which has to happen every 5 years, every 10 years. Okay, we just cannot have this is still at the end all. There are so many things which are so much.
Yeah, I think Dr. Shekhar,
Made to happen.
yeah,
We ensure that our global reach. Yeah,
please go on.
you're not able to hear.
No, 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 please go on. I think there was some
Yeah.
internet issue.
So yeah. Hello. Yeah. So major reforms in education have been done, and this has been done in consultation with stakeholders, in consultation with the requirement, in consultation with fund availability, and so on and so forth. So, and it takes care of full education in totality. It has not been done with any this thing. As I again repeat, there are bits and pieces, there are pitfalls in this. This is not a know-all document, but a very, very good document to go forward. Because whatever some changes you make, it will affect somebody else. So that being the thing, the national education policy is something which we should fully welcome. And now I will, in 2 minutes time, I'll hand over to Akram for 5 minutes of digression. In this, we should also know that this World Education Conference, which the Policy Times is going to announce, this will be one of the major thing on which the 3-day conference will address on, because that is something very, very important for the actual education. And fortunately, many education ministers are coming, and many higher education vice chancellor, they are all coming to address, and many students are going to put their own purview. And this is something which is going to be again a mini game changer for the education in India. And I'm sure Akram will talk few minutes on that. I would request him to talk few minutes on one thing he has struggled hard for last 1.5 years to get this dream come true. And now I'll ask Akram to say a few words before I continue for the second and the final one. Akram.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shekhar. If you can stop sharing the screen, I'll just share
Yeah.
and take it from where you left. And yes, when the lockdown started post COVID, no one had any idea what to do and how to go ahead. So we thought we will not stop and we will keep doing something. And also, when we started talking about policy issues to common public, we realized that it is only people in the education sector who are willing to and capable of understanding the policy issues. And that is how our journey started to connect with educators. And since last 6 months, we did more than 100 plus webinars in the education sector, ranging on different issues related to digital education, online learning, then teachers training, then career guidance programs and workshops across. With your help, we got our experts from NASA and from various Indian and international universities. Then we realized that 2020 has been a massive year of disruption, and this disruption has to end, and 2021 needs to give a very fresh start. And we thought there are four primary areas that we need to focus, and we need to bring some change in the system so that things fall in place as it was before 2020, means 2019. So there are four major areas we have identified under. So we are organizing this World Education Conference 2021. It is being organized in January 15th to 17th, Friday to Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And as you can see, we have three eminent honorable education ministers from Delhi, Shri Manish Sisodiya, who is the Deputy Chief Minister and Education Minister of Delhi, who brought massive reform in Delhi education. Is a huge phenomena, and is actually a model to see for the world how education can be changed through uh, government schools, or government schools can provide better education to the world or to the children. Then we have two education ministers from others. We have a Nepalese billionaire and philanthropist, Dr. Vinod Chaudhary, who is also joining us, and some renowned educationist, Dr. Shekhar, is also with us in this program. There are four areas we want to address. Number one is the new national education policy that the government has adopted. because the implementation roadmap of the national education policy is extremely important. So we want to discuss and understand the implementation roadmap of this national education policy. The second aspect we want to understand is the loss that we have incurred in 2020. How can that be recovered in 2021? Is what one of our agendas. We want to actually define a roadmap how the loss can be recovered in 2021. The third is online education. Being digital is a new reality, and the more we become digital, of course with some precautions, because a couple of days ago, uh, some WhatsApp can be hacked. I had no idea, but it is very much possible. So this is what we also need to be careful. But yes, being digital is extremely important. How can we make e-learning affordable and accessible for all? The final point that we want to make, as Dr. Shekhar was mentioning, is a skill, is actually industry education integration. There has to be seamless bonding between industry and education and government, because policymakers are also very important stakeholder in the society. So this is all brief about the event, and I'm really delighted that Dr. Shekhar's book that he has written will be launched in the inaugural session of this program, and in presence of our honorable minister, and in presence of many dignitaries who would be attending in this conference. With this, Dr. Shekhar, I also wanted to understand a little bit more about what there are two other aspects. When we talk about holistic or comprehensive education, one is women and the other is rural. So, how do we actually solve education challenges for women and rural India? This was one of the questions actually came forward.
Yeah, yes, that I will cover as I go forward.
Right.
I'll just go back to what I left off.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Yeah,
হ্যাঁ কি বলছো? টাইম লাগবে, প্রোগ্রামটা
yeah.
শেষ হবে 3টের পরে। তুমি
So
কি তুমি কি
now rural and women, which you rightly said, has got a huge role to play. The numbers are very high and defining. And now, to be a small reply now and then go to more detailed reply as we go forward, is that it is getting evolved out today. Today, it is not a overnight situation that from tomorrow, from rural 100 million new education or women will come in picture, because people also are not so prepared for a sudden jolt. This all will happen spread over next 5 to 10 years, and the beginning has been done. Today, schools are available. Today, there are private schools are available, government schools are available, and also there are remote schools are there. With the remote possibility, today anybody can have a
Yeah, yeah, Dr. Shekhar, you can continue.
yeah. And yeah, notes. So they are possible. The slide was not going forward, so now it's good.
Okay.
Okay. So this new education policy is also something which is going to be some form of a game changer, but it is not the end all. It is not the end all. It is the beginning of going to the next level. Fortunately, it has happened independent of COVID, and it will make its own impact from the woman, from the rural. Why from the rural? Even in urban areas, the literacy rates are far low compared to what it should be. Almost it's only 77% all India, and in many of the cities itself, it comes to less than in places like UP, it is less than 70%. So UP being UP, if it is a separate country, it will be the fifth largest country in the world. So we should have UP standing around 95%, which should happen, which should start happening, and it may come to even 80% by the end of this NEP regime, and then go to almost 90% the next. We should all be happy, because we should never think of one shot solution where you go one thing and many other questions which you are raising, has a little bit of an answer when we talk of the word secured governance, a strategy for education. Okay, because when we talk of education, today India has got almost 400 million people or more below the age of 25, the typical educational age. Okay. And Indian education system today, with all its powers and whatever it is, cannot take more than 100 to 130 million students. Okay. Higher education is almost 2% of it, 3% of it, which is good. We don't want everybody to be highly educated and more frustrated. We also should not feel that tomorrow everybody should be a postgraduate in India. More frustration will come because that much, place is not there at the top for people to be there. There should be challenges of a good and others climbing up the ladder. But even for the others whom you want to educate, there is a funding problem. Okay. There, secure governance plays a huge role. Okay. Now, in secure governance, what we say is that it is the government which has to make a policy framework, and through value valuation, there will be self-sustenance coming in picture. What does it mean by value valuation? The simplest, crudest, and a very direct example will be when a school comes to an area. Okay, huge values around the school goes up. Everything around the school, it is near the XYZ school. So, a school is coming, so the rates are going up. The school does not capture any portion of it. In fact, school is always a losing proposal. In secure governance, what we say is you try to see how, while planning itself, you take some portion of whatever value you are creating. It's not that school can tax somebody nearby. But what school can do definitely is, of course, this is not the only one. There are many more things which I will list as we go forward. What a school can do is that many times for the education institutions, any government gives you 5 to 7 FSI. Okay. And by some rules, certain percentage, near between 20 to 40% can be commercial. Okay. So any school, while planning itself, should plan so that the education portion, without disturbing, should have the commercial portion attached to it, but with a complete border. There should be no linkage between the two. And the commercial portion should not be sold to anybody compulsorily. You should always give it as a rent for the education. Then the cycle will continue because of the school being whatever it is. You will start getting higher and higher rent as you keep going, and this higher and higher rent start funding the education. Like this, there are various centers of excellence because of education, because of which money can come in picture. That's why whatever we are showing here in the form of this, education becomes like a hub. And the same thing when it translated to this, whatever I explained was a nano hub, just one building. It could be a mini hub. There could be set of buildings, cluster buildings, which many of the education institutions do have. Many education institutions have even 5 buildings, 10 buildings, 25 acres of land. Today it is just isolated. If you don't isolate, if you just keep the commercial portion slightly away in the corner, so that education people need not be tampered with the commercial establishment, it is a continuous flow of fund for education to grow. And for major cities which are propagating, that there should be few smart cities itself should be education hubs, knowledge cities we call it. Many have started. Those all will be in terms of 100 acre, 500 acre, 5,000 acre, and so on and so forth, where it will almost be like a mini city, mini smart city. Okay. Then it will have its own, malls and complexes and sports stadia and manufacturing, everything. But education will be the major thrust for that particular hub. So when such a system is collated properly, that's why secure governance is harnessing untapped potential for national growth. Defining growth through convergence of multiple sectors is very important for valuation. And infrastructure development with minimal government investment. Because government does not have the money to invest. Even if you say government should give money, they will say yes, but they will never give money. Many education institutions have closed because government defines a rule that XYZ teacher salary will be given back. They are not given back for 5 years, 10 years. Now they say yes, we will give when the money comes. And it doesn't come at all because it keeps piling up. Okay? So these type of false hope we should not have that there is money. There is no money in the government because again let us go to actual ground level reality. Government collects almost around 20 lakh crores as taxes. 60% goes as taxes. 60% goes as salary. So in the remaining 30 to 3 lakh to 4 lakh crores, what the government will do in terms of taking care of every sector needs much more than that money which is required. So every sector has to grow by it, otherwise they will tax you heavily, which again is not welcome. So money cannot be dug from the ground. Here, when we say that it is hidden potential, it is not dug from the ground. It is a value which it is creating, which is providing this thing. And toward the end of my thing, I am also showing some this thing by which people are doing the research and all for this, and where the money comes. So that is what is secured governance, which is a self-sustained education system. Now here it does not take care of only the FSI. Okay, FSI is taken care so that there is a direct money coming in picture. Whereas education institution should have a very, very good innovative system. It should have an entrepreneurship development cell. It should be linked to all the past students. Okay, these are three core areas. There are so many sub-core areas. So once you link, once anybody is returned to by their own alumni or by their own school or college they have studied, whatever is your amount, you feel like giving something. No education system, very few education system are doing that. Then education system should be tied up with all the nearby local school, local commercial establishment. So especially higher education system people would always have a benefit of the student right from the day one being known as working in XYZ company. It gives them the knowledge how a commercial establishment works, and it gives the commercial establishment a link to the education institution to get what they want. So there is a continuous linkage, and this will have a huge financial gain for the education institution. So these few parameters, if education institutions can take care, and of course advertisement and this thing and food court and so many things are there by which you can have monetary gain. Because otherwise, what happens? Why education system has a different aspect. In many other places, when we do X, when we manufacture, next day it is getting sold, or 2 days later it is getting sold. Money comes in either in advance. In education, you give an education to somebody X. From the beginning, it takes 20 years for them to start it. Even toward the end, for them to really earn to pay back, it takes you another 5-10 years. Okay, by the time other commitments come. So education and healthcare has to have a funding mechanism. And the funding mechanism comes by the infrastructure development around those entities. And infrastructure development through the rules of urban development and through, I'm not talking of CSR funding, because CSR funding is something which is there, but which will not take care of the type of requirement which any of the sectors require. The sectors require much more than what CSR funding can do. But CSR funding also should be one of a small component for education to grow. Because many people have a feeling that, oh, through CSR fund I will do. But the requirements are far too long. So total CSR budget for all industries put together will be something like 30,000 crores. 30,000 crores will be useful only for one small city, which will require so much of money for this. Whereas in the secured governance principle, the self-sustained economy, you don't have to depend on any third party. You have to only plan and structure your, education institutions or the way you educate them in such a way that the money comes and keeps flowing in. And industry accreditation. This is going to be one of the in things for higher education. Now, many of the problem which people feel in higher education is industry experience lacking. So I am training somebody for XYZ, and that is not good. See, in medical practice, they have come out of it. They have internship by which the person has to spend 2-3 years in. Same way in army, why people are good. Last few years, they have all live where they are trained. They are made to do everything so that they are fully agile. Whereas in a normal this thing, the person is just given a degree and then goes. He doesn't know whether he is getting the degree for a job or job is for the degree. The linkage is missing. Whereas industry academic partnership would always be a very, very good thing. Now, there's another thing which I would have a very, very deep inroads. Okay, from the time I said pendant, but we've got a huge thing. And we may even have one special session on overseas India. Here, I will only spend a few minutes for this overseas India. Because overseas Indians versus education are going to have a very, very different and a core linkage. Today, there are some videos which are going on to say that, okay, India is spending so much money on, say, an IIT engineer, and then the IIT engineer is going and getting job abroad. So India is losing. Okay. There can be nothing which is far from true. Okay. Every Indian who is going abroad is paying back to India, maybe in his own account, by his own relatives and by his own structure going up, by which India is prospering even. We know that Indians, there are 25 million Indians abroad. They bring a whopping $82 billion every year into the country. Okay. That means when we are training an Indian, even in IIT spending money, We are really making a product. We are making a product which is export worthy. And the export worthy product is continuously bringing goodwill and money. Let us not see only from money point of view. There are some people who may not bring money because 25 million Indians are themselves worth $1 trillion plus plus plus. It is growing by the day. When I showed the second slide of successful Indians, doing so well abroad, they are also bringing goodwill to us. They are also bringing prosperity to us, and they are also bringing funds into India. Okay, official, legal, clean, on from all angles. Okay, they are making their own brothers and sisters become an entrepreneur, or they are themselves entrepreneurs, sitting there and managing. And there again, the overseas Indian book, which session you may have, there's a lot more than what I'm trying to say. So one should not belittle an Indian going abroad as somebody whom I have funded and why should they go abroad? Indian tax money is paid is going. Indian tax money is being set. When you guess, yes, what is being said is absolutely right at the time when he has left India. When I did my MSc and PhD, I know foreign professors who would come and offer me 10 to 20 times what I can never get in India. And let's say, at the time I was also not so much inclined to go. But the person who has gone has not done any disservice to India by going abroad. Because there, his prosperity has brought huge prosperity to India. That means we have molded an export worthy item which is second to none globally. Globally, it is second to none. We are giving Indians abroad who are so good in whatever they are doing that, as you know, today Vice President of USA is a SME Indian. Okay, and there are many waiting in the wings. And many waiting in the wings in UK. Among the top 10 ministers, 4 or 5 of them are Indians. And again, there are many. So even in many other the same, and we have gone by our own this thing, not by any pulls and pressures of either government or any agency or anything. They have gone because they are good. And their Indian education system has played a huge role. And so Indian overseas Indians have to be complemented. And other slide which we are talking is India has to plan almost 3 million Indians to go abroad every year. By whatever training we do, since we are going to have experience of it, there also we have to highlight the fact that 3 million Indians have to be trained to go abroad because this is a necessity for India's own growth and for the global growth. Why both? We should not dump our Indians abroad because we are overpopulated. India cannot have less than this 20 million plus every year. So if 20 million Indians have to this thing, we cannot have 20 million jobs created for an Indian who is born today 20 years later. That's not going to be possible. Whereas when 3 million people are sent abroad, every Indian who is going abroad indirectly supports 10 Indians. So when 3 million Indians go abroad, even if 1 million are not able to support, remaining 2 million will support your 20 million Indians. Then what is the gain? Are we being selfish to say that we are not able to control our population, so we are dumping Indians? No. Wherever Indians have gone, they have made rich contribution to the country. I have visited so many countries, I have seen advanced countries and not so advanced countries also. Whereas when an Indian is there, he is highly respected. He is not an avaricious person. He is not somebody who is anywhere, trying to do any disservice to the country. And it is being something which is good. This is also to be dealt with properly, to be understood properly. So that when we are having education, what I'm trying to make an important statement here is, we are making a product for export, product for global growth, product for India's prestige, product for India's goodwill, and product as an ambassador of the country. Okay. So that is something which people should know the importance of India going abroad and the type of vacancies which are there. It varies. Now I will cut through others so that I will finish in the next 10 minutes. So yeah, it's one very great things of yoga and Ayurveda, which is also having huge requirements globally. Yoga itself is the $80 billion industry in USA alone. Okay, then we can understand what are we, how much we should get out of it and how much we should contribute for its perpetual use throughout the world. Ayurveda is getting again another item in the COVID. There are so many Ayurveda specialists who got real solution and where people have got 100% relief. They don't have any problem. And that should be highlighted, and not only for COVID, for many things. Because this is all age-old thing where people have, gone into the depth of the way the body works, depth of the way the, agriculture comes in picture, the agro medicine which comes out of Ayurveda is something which is phenomenal. Along with that, other healthcare and sports also has to be taken care because these two have to be more or less like funded. But they got a huge opportunities for education and for enlightened people to go. Again, because India is a country with 600 million youth, plus today even a 60-year-old man considers himself as a youth. So we know that 600 million is only a small fraction of the number. So sports becomes another factor where education and sports linkages would have a great thing. Today there is sports medicine itself is a big field. So you can understand how again yoga is whether sports or education is again a debatable point because yoga is also in a sport and yoga is also a separate by itself. Same way, sports and entertainment. They got so many things. Sports and dancing. Again, they got so much of combination. Sports and entertainment. As we always have a joke that if an Indian Bollywood sing or a cricket is held even in a remote place like Siberia, it will become household. Okay, that is the strength of an Indian. That is the strength of the thing which we are doing, and that has to be brought into the student in the training level itself. So why I am putting the slides in? These are all a thing which people have not taken too much pain. Many times people say sports is something which is not required in education. Even if you say yoga or not so to say. Any of the others which are all good, which are paying, which are something very nice for the country and for people's employment possibility, they are generally not not just few slides on negative and positive impacts on education post COVID. Now, negative impact, as we all know, that we are all the students are on the at home, and the teacher also teaching from home, and it has got its own positive impact of blended education is coming. Today, an expert can be sitting in USA and teaching in India, and another expert sitting in India is teaching in USA. Yeah, I talked a few minutes back about yoga. There are so many people who are yoga experts who are teaching people in USA and Canada sitting in